Hello everyone, I'm Siddharthan. In this video, let's understand how we can connect our local machine with GitHub using SSH so that we can access the repositories that we have and work on it. So this will be the agenda for today's video and let's get started. So the first step is that you should have an account in GitHub, so make sure that you are signed up, and once that sign up process is done, you can go to Google and search connect GitHub using SSH. And here you will see this site called as generating a new SSH key. So this is the documentation for following this process. I'll give the link in the video description. You can check that out. And the other thing that we need is we need to install Git in our machine. So again, go to Google and search download Git. So not GitHub, just Git. So in this downloads Git, you can find Git for Windows, Mac OS, Linux, and so on. So I'm going to select Windows and I'm going to download this 64-bit Git version. So that's my configuration. So you can download the corresponding version. So I've already downloaded this. I'm just like canceling this out. But once this download is done, you can open your downloads and install Git. So this won't take that much time. So click on next and you can leave this files as such. So other things can be just the same, and we need this open SSH and all those details. So just go with the default settings. So SSH stands for Secure Shell. So we generally call this as SSH protocol or Secure Shell protocol, and that's used to kind of establish a secured connection between this repository and this particular machine that we are working on. So that's the idea behind that. So once this installation is done, we will be opening Git Bash. So you can either launch from here or you can just tick this box, click on finish, and then go to your search bar and search for Git, and you will see this Git Bash option. So come back to your documentation and it has like the commands that we need. So this is for generating a new SSH key and adding it to the SSH agent. So we will create a SSH key for our machine, save this in the configuration and paste that key in GitHub account. So that's the process. So first step is we need to generate a new SSH key. So we can use this SSH keygen ED255 this thing. So if this is not working in your machine, so you can use RSA, but for the modern laptops and stuff, so this should work. So you can copy this SSH hyphen keygen hyphen T this thing except for this email address. So I'll paste it. So you can right click here and paste this. So the next thing is we need to mention the email address. So the email address is nothing but the one that you have that you have used to create the GitHub account. So come here and I'll say my GitHub account, which is code with sit files 23 at gmail.com. So this is my email address. So now it asks you to give a folder in order to save your SSH key. You can just press enter. So when you press enter, this will use this as the default key location. So you can just press enter here. And now you can enter a passphrase. So you can just have some very simple passphrase here. So the use of SSH is that you don't have to give your username and password every time you commit or push your code and so on. So that's the advantage of this, but just you need a passphrase. So I'll just give a passphrase here, so you won't see this getting typed as this is a password kind of a thing. So I've already typed my passphrase and I'll click on enter. So this will ask you to enter the same passphrase again, and I'll enter it again and I'm pressing this enter. So this would have created your SSH key. So now let's come back to this documentation. And so we have done this part. So our SSH key has been generated, and we have also pressed enter here, and it has kind of stored in our default location within this users thing. So the next step is we have to add this SSH key to the SSH agent. So for this, we need to start Windows PowerShell in administrator mode and run these two lines. So this is to make sure that SSH is running on the background. So let's say you don't want to run this code every time you kind of connect with Git. So every time you don't want to do that, you can follow this particular process of automatically running the SSH agent. So that will be here. So this is for auto launching. Yeah, so we need to make some configurations in this profile and so on. So that will kind of make sure that SSH agent runs on the background on your machine. But let's just follow this process where we will run this one. So I'll copy this first line of code and say here we can close this git bash for now. So we need this only for creating our SSH key. So you can create you can close this one and open your Windows PowerShell. So open this as administrator because these two lines require administrator permissions. So just press Control plus V and this will Control V will paste this thing here, get service name thing, and then paste the next line. So I'm copying this and pasting it here. So here right click won't work for copy. So just press Control V. So now our SSH agent would have started. So this is the next step. So if your thing is not working, make sure that your SSH agent is running on the background, and then you can do this process of pulling the repository, pushing this, and so on. So now the next step is we have to open another terminal. So here we can open this without admin permissions itself. So that would work, and write this one. So SSH add the place where we have added our public key or the SSH key. So I'll come here. So make sure that this is running. So administrator mode Windows PowerShell is running here. So I'll come back and again search for PowerShell. So now this is not running in administrator mode. So now I have to locate the key, and I know that my key was stored in this users thing. So remember the place where it was saved. So generally it will be in your users, the profile, and within that you will see this .ssh file. So this is the default location. So we need the path of this. So this is the one that they have given here. So you have to say SSH add and the path of this particular file. So you can just right click here, not the pub file, not the public file, this one, ID without any extension. So right click here, copy the path and come back to your terminal and use this command ssh add space this thing. So I can say ssh hyphen add space control V. You can either put it in quotes or without that will also work. So I'll press enter. So now I have to give the passphrase that I've created before. So I'm typing this and pressing enter. So now the identity is added for this particular mail address for GitHub. So the next step is we have added this. Now we have to save this in GitHub. Okay, so once this process is done, once your identity has been added with this particular SSH key, come back to this one and open your .pub file. So I'll open this with Notepad and copy this content. So if you don't want to open this on Notepad, you can also copy the content to the clipboard from terminal as well. So you can use the clip command in Windows, so that should work. So now I'll open my GitHub account and I'll go to this right side top corner, which is my profile. So once you're logged in and once you're in this github.com, you will see this as the landing page, and right side is your profile option. So click on that and go to settings. And in the settings, in the left navigation bar, you can find this SSH and GPG keys. So here, click on new SSH key and give a title. So you can just maybe name this with your laptop. Maybe I'll just say SSH key or something. So we don't need this name anywhere. This is just for our reference, and paste your key. You can just keep this as authentication key and paste this. And click on add SSH key. And you have to type in your password. So I'll do that. So now as you can see, my SSH key has been added over here. So I'll again come back. So now we have successfully connected our Git account with this particular machine. So now I can just create a private repository and try to check if that has been like as this access on my machine. So I'll click on create repository and just name this as check SSH access. So this is the name of my repository. I'll just keep this private, no description for now. So I'll just create a README file and click on create repository. So I've created a private repository, and maybe I'll just create a sample file. I'll just click on create new file and call this test.txt and say check. So this is the file, and I'll click on commit changes. So I'm committing my changes and I'm in my main branch and it has one particular file now. So now let's see how we can connect to this. So I'll open a folder You can close this other things. Just keep the SSH agent running. Close this one. I'll right click here and create a folder for Git repositories. Open this. So in this folder, I can click on open in terminal, or I can click here and just type in cmd. So this will open command prompt from this particular directory. So as you can see, desktop Git repositories. So now I can say git clone space. I have to go to this repository, check SSH access. Click on, once I'm in this repository, click on code. And here we have HTTPS. So we shouldn't copy this, but copy this SSH thing. So here, copy this link for this repository, not from the HTTPS, from the SSH. And you can git clone. After git clone, paste this and press enter. So for this, this will ask you for the first time. So if you want to confirm this, so type in yes and enter your passphrase that you have created in the previous steps. So this will pull all the files as you can see here. So now I can open my Git repositories folder. Now you can see this check SSH access. When I open this, I'm finding this test readme and so on. So this is how you can use SSH. And if you want to, let's say, make some changes. So I'll go here, create a new file. I'll maybe name this as check.txt. It's just a empty file, let's see. And I can open my Git repositories thing, list the files. Okay, it's probably not there. So I'll close this one. Uh, we have this Git repositories and this is the folder. So you should open the terminal within this folder. So here we are, right? So you can press on Control H or maybe go to this view thing. So we would have some hidden files here. So maybe that's okay. So we have the Git repositories, the Git folder is there. So I'll click here and say cmd, and from here I can say git space add. This is going to add all the files that I've created recently. I'll say git status to make sure like what are all the files that are present. So here I've added a new file called as check txt. There is another extension, but that's okay. So now I can say git commit -m and say that checking git push. So I'm committing this, and finally I can I'm able to auto detect email address. Okay, so we have to add our email address and name, so we can do that. So I'll say git config. So we have to configure with this name. I'll copy this. Git config username Siddharthan and git config user dot email. So that's the next thing. So use the same mail ID that you have created for your GitHub. I'll press on enter, and now I'll say git commit again. So this has committed the changes, and finally I can say git push origin main. So that is the branch that I'm currently in. So this will push the code. So enter your passphrase. So this has successfully pushed the code. So I'll come back to the browser. I'll refresh this. And now we can see this check.txt, okay, a empty file. So this is how you can connect your repository, and that is all you need to do. So again, if you want to make this thing SSH agent running in the background, you can just make these changes. If not, you can just use this one if it's not like getting connected. So that to basically make sure SSH is running on the background. So after that, you can create any repositories in your account. So all you have to do is clone that repository and you can just work on it. So you don't need to do this entire process again and again. So what happens is you have a SSH key configured in your machine, and that we have already stored in our account within that settings thing. So this is the whole process. So I hope everyone is clear until this part. So I'll see you in the next upload. Thanks for watching.